Why, greetings everybody, and welcome back to Rebuilding the Commonwealth with me, your host, Mr. Oliver S, or otherwise known as Charles O'Banion. So we are here at Spectacle Island. Did you miss me? I'm sure you did. It's been 4 weeks. You guys always miss me. You guys should just get into the habit of just dropping comments on everything and just saying, hey, come back, because I have got such crap discipline these days. Anyway, we are here at Spectacle Island. As you know, about 2 weeks ago I put up a post asking what you guys wanted to see out of this place. You know, did you want to see a prison, a castle, a labour camp, and more than half of you requested a labour camp, which is quite surprising. I put the original idea of a medieval castle, and that was actually the least popular idea, so it turns out you guys are better at coming up with ideas than me. Lovely. So where do we go from here? Well, this terrain is very rocky and rather difficult to work with, I must admit. I've spent a little while off camera surveying the scene and seeing what I can do with it, and it's going to be a tricky one, but I think we can make it work. There's not a great deal around here that I can use for actual hard labour, like mining, digging, that kind of stuff. But that doesn't mean we can't find somewhere to start, and I think one of the best places to do that would be up here on the hill. Now this is where the actual workshop is, so I do have to be a little bit careful here, but I'm going to tear down this structure and we're going to start from here. Now, let me show you what I mean. We're going to work on the prison block. It looks like an ambush marker there, I think, somewhere. Ah, there you go, Mirelurk ambush. Extra bottle cap. Not going to say no to that. So let's scrap everything in this little cabinet and we will work with this as we see fit. The boat mast is just a fancy alarm, so we're going to get rid of that. Shack walls, yeah, light bulbs, all that crap can disappear. Circuit breaker, we can get rid of this as well. Granted, some of this probably could have been useful for something else, but we'll figure it out. Now, as you can see from the snappy builds here, I did think to use these high-tech tiles. I don't think it was actually in snappy builds that I saw it initially. I think it was in a snap and build. Is normally the case. No, it's not. I must be mistaken. So the high-tech, although the way it says high-tech, it's not really high-tech as such. It probably was in the pre-war period, but I think a lot of this looks like cold concrete, which is kind of the impression I'm actually going for. Plus, I think there's a lot of decoration I can add to these. I thought that had a great big hole in it, but there's a lot of these tiles that I can use. I can mix and match some of the colours. I can create a decent, really cold and hard labour-esque view with this, as it were. Plus, up here on the hill makes for a few good opportunities. So I figure what we'll do is we'll build from the top and work downwards, because I can level terrain, but I can't build and then level around it. That's not how I work. So let's create ourselves a foundation and a skeleton for this build. Now I want there to be a rather unwelcoming feel to this place. You know, you're not here because you're on a holiday, you're here because it's a punishment. So let's level the terrain up here with some sidewalks. The reason I'm not using the other blocks is because they don't have nav meshes. If you don't know, nav meshes, they are what you need for NPCs to walk on them. If they don't have a nav mesh, they can't be walked on. It's a bit of a pain, but that's the way it is. And I certainly don't want nice lush green grass. Speaking of which, if I turn that off so I can actually see the terrain. Brilliant. Now I want some kind of cold concrete up here. so this is some concrete, not as dark as I would expect. I certainly don't want any trees up here. I think this is a good place to start. I can make this more unwelcoming as we go. The question is, where exactly do we begin? So the entrance to the camp is over that side. I have to be mindful of this workshop. I either have to bury it in something or I have to work it into the build. I'm quite a fan of working it in. We just turn off surface snapping here. And we're going to start from this height. Excellent. And this shall be the entrance to the prisoners area. Just so that I don't lose track of it, that's what I'm going to mark it with as a placeholder. Now, this will of course be liable to change. These tools are very universal, these tile sizes. But I'm going to build this prison camp up on a hill to start with. So let's lay out some foundations. Got 3 on each side. Let's put 4 on each side for comparison wise. So yeah, that's there. 1, 2, 3 and 4. And make sure you guys are liking and commenting, because I do read all of those nice inputting comments, and I do like to implement them as we can. Now I think this high up is good. I will have to really work on this part of the map. Either that or I can expand this this area out substantially. I'm thinking of making a drop on the other side that's just insurmountable so that prisoners can't escape that way. After all, guys here are being punished. As I say, they're not on holiday, they are here as a punishment. Now you see, I might have a fair bit of concrete now, but you'll be very surprised how quickly concrete is used in my builds. So let's lay out some foundations here. In fairness, I can always expand this build outwards as and how needed. I just want to avoid there being units spawning underneath this map, so I'm going to have to work on filling that in. That will be quite soul-destroying work at some point, I'm pretty sure, so I'm going to have to work on that off camera. I don't really want to subject you guys to that, or maybe I'll do it as a live stream, depends how I feel on that. This is going to need a few runs to get some extra concrete, because again, most of this build is going to be concrete of some kind. I really hope this high-tech stuff is mostly steel, because I've got a massive surplus of steel. It's something I thought I'd use a lot in the playthrough and then just never did. Okay. Right, let's just do a bit of surveying from this. So we're coming up into what is going to be the prison block. I mean, this area is kind of large, but I feel like it should be larger than this. But let's see how far we've got going out here. I mean, there's plenty of space. But this I want to feel like it's a tiered system in some ways. Let's expand each side out by 1. Or I'll just do 1 ring, as it were, around this lot. I say all this is just setting a foundation. It isn't going to look this ugly when it's done. At least, I hope not. Mind you, my builds always start off ugly and then they get better over time. A bit like me in the aging process in real life. That looks a bit more like it. Now, although this is going to be a very broad prison block, I'm going to put in another section out here. just one more line. I have a feeling this will now be surplus to requirements, but I'd rather have too much and then trim it down than not have enough and add it on and make it look ridiculous. Great. Yeah, I think this is a good base to work with, just to get the process going. As I say, all of this underneath here will have to be sealed in. Ignore this, again, we're not going to be able to go underneath this platform, and in fact this kind of helps us see through and see what we're working with. Now out here, I've got a decent amount of space. That's what I like to see. So this settlement is going to be partially guarded by the Navy and partially guarded by the military. Now let's just put a bed down here. And I might want to go to sleep because that is a rad storm that is coming in. And I don't really like rad storms. Now let's just sleep for 14 hours so we can skip through the night cycle. My partner very lovingly made me a cup of tea before this recording because I always neglect to do so. Lovely. There we go. It's a bit foggy, but it's weather we can deal with. Okay, that is a little bit too foggy for my liking. I can barely even see the floor. Let's just skip a few hours. Nope. A couple more hours. That's better. Nice and clear. This looks a bit too welcoming for my liking, but that is still able to change while I'm doing this. Now let's review. I want the cells to be rather small, but I want them to be quite numerous. I may build an extra block of these, maybe for different categories of prisoners. You know, ex-Minutemen, ex-Raiders, those sorts of people. Now, I also need to find a place for this. That is also a point. But I'll figure that out later. Now, let's see what we can do with our pick of the litter here, high-tech. Now, high-tech floors. I want this to be 2 tiers. I want it to be spaced out a little bit like a motel, so you have exterior access. Here you're not going to have a full set of walls to keep you sheltered. That is the price you pay. I do want to make sure these do not snap. I think there's an option for that. No, it's not going to be that. Nope. To be fair, I do want the timeout off, actually. This is where I'm not familiar with which buttons I need to push for this. It's no matter anyway, we can work around it. Now, the interior floors here. The vanilla ones I think are a bit too bright, a bit too welcoming. But we do have some darker themes here which we can use. And I think the black works a little bit better. Like, this building needs to look foreboding. So what I'll do is snap it into a place where I can work with. Here, for example. And I'll move this up. Wrong piece. It's the other one that I want to do. You know what? I'll just cheat. What I'll do is move that down by 1 and then move back to a 5 piece. Like that. Now, I don't want it too high up, but I do want to determinedly mark the outside of this. So let's move this along by 50, 50. I want there to be an edge to this building. And what we'll do... Oh yeah, this does use steel. Steel and plastic. That is a great relief to me. It means I will not be using all my concrete supply. Now, I don't know whether to make this a U-shape or to leave it as is. What I'll do is probably experiment on a wing like this, and then we will go from there if we like it. and if we don't, then we don't. So we have these stair edges, and I do quite like them, as annoying as they are to snap. However, if we get this built up, we can make like a dogleg stairs, and we can create another area up top. So that's just the flooring, whereas we've got skin A in black, and we can make these really, really foreboding looking walls. Now that by itself looks a bit off, but we can play around with this. Now this concrete, I think, feels like it should be on the inside. A bit like this. I mean, it's not the same on the other side, which is a bit disappointing, but actually, if we got one-sided walls, I think I could just put that on the other side if we have that particular tile, but I don't think we do. Which is fair. Skin B. Now these thicker walls I can put on the outside to give it a really foreboding presence, which again is the idea. Now these cells, although they're going to be fairly small, I want them to at least have the space to move around. High-tech floors. There we go, black. For a moment I thought I completely missed it then. Now, do we have halves? Yes, we do. That's what I like to hear. Let's put in some halves. Again, this is all very rough shaping. This is just to get myself an idea of what it's going to look like. So don't take this as gospel of how I'm going to deal with this. Now I need a bottom steps. High-tech floor edge stairs. 1. Okay, so this is a bottom of the stairs. That looks very, very large. I might have to replace this with another 4 block. Let's give that a try. Okay, these are broken tiles. I could actually use this for certain things. I can always replace this flooring as well, so don't worry too much about it. Like the style looks really ugly or anything, because again, all liable to change. This is probably one of the harder builds I think I've attempted so far, especially because I've gone into this without an actual plan. Oh, I think I had it. It was just there. There we go. Put this down into the floor ever so slightly, like that. Now I think I need to use a half floor for the area above. Okay, I think it will have to be a full floor. Can't tell the difference between these, but the really thick flooring is kind of putting me off a bit. There, okay, I can put it on this way. I mean, I'm not quite sure I like that, but we'll have to deal with it. I get the feeling I'm going to have to mess around with this style a lot before I pick it up. Okay, so this dogleg staircase is going to have to be a 2 block wide, which is surprising, I will admit. So we need a top 0, 1, left, right, middle. We'll just do it this way. There. I mean, we could work with that. I mean, the cells on this would be very small, but I could make a U-shaped building with this. platforms. So we can add some edging to this, but do we have some suitable railings is a good question. Yeah, those stairs are not going to work. I don't know, that feels like it's a bit too high-tech for this. And let's put in a full-blown floor in the top. Now if I put this here, I don't think... Oh no, we can. We can get down the bottom. Not a fan of the fans on the bottom though. Excuse the pun. So let's replace these with the standard. I say a fan, that's supposed to be a light, I'm pretty certain. But what I could do is create a corridor underneath. Okay. Now I think that's as far as I can get. So I could have cell blocks right along here, then right along the back and right along there. I reckon I could probably put maybe 20 to 25 prisoners in this particular space. Again, this is all extremely rough planning. This is not set in stone, and I know it looks awful. All of my builds do when they first start. It's just the nature of the beast. But we have a whole lot of tiles to work with, and I can mess around with them off camera. Like I can create interesting spaces so they don't just look like giant cubes. I mean, some of these I could probably mess around with. Again, like there's these platform blocks, which I'm certain I could find a use for them somewhere. Like overreach platforms and such. I still don't really know what I'm going to do about the rails, because I only have edging, not rails. And I don't know whether the vanilla one has pieces, because, you know, vanilla normally does. I'm pretty sure Jamaica Plain can handle that by themselves. Oh, that's the elevator edging. I'm not installing an elevator in this place, as you can probably guess. But let's go all the way around. So we're going to use the 4 blocks, and we'll go all the way around. I'm going to paste them along here as well, just so that I can get a ground floor footprint. I might leave a gap in the middle here. Because then that way we can have guards and like an access way around the back to the back of the platform, which I think could be quite interesting. That's got a fair bit of clearance. I'm happy with that. So I do hope they line up properly. I think these are off slightly, and I wouldn't be able to figure out why. Is it because of these stairs? I think it's because of these stairs. It's because of these stairs. Also, please accept my apologies in advance. There are some, because I live quite close to a little children's park outside. There's it's that time of the year where the kids are out enjoying themselves, so there's a lot of screaming and playing outside. There we go, that looks like it matches up a fair bit more consistently. Yeah. I'll get rid of that. Yeah, I think that was the problem. Luckily we've found that problem before it becomes a major building issue. That's the problem. Once you've done it all, it's very hard to change everything as a result of it. But if you spot it early, like that, it does not have a knock-on effect later down the line. Okay. I did that side one short, so that's one short. Now. So part of me is tempted to build these cells as 1x1s, but I think that would be painfully small. I mean, that side over there is 3 blocks, if I'm not mistaken. I say blocks as a generic term for the size of these normal tiles, as it were. Oops, there we go. Cool. Yeah, I think this block would be big enough like that. As I say, I'm not a big fan of this sidewalk, mainly because this concrete looks too light, too welcoming. I want prisoners to fear going to this place. I want prisoners not looking forward to coming back to this at the end of the day. I mean, the Minutemen are nice and compassionate, but you've abused their trust, and this is why you are in this place. At least, that's the worst kind of prisoner who could attend this prison. So let's flesh this out. And I don't think that causes an issue with clearance. No, it doesn't. That's fine. So we've got 3 this side, 2 this side. And 1 more to seal you up. Got to jump this gap. Can I make it? Whoopee! Yes, I can. It does actually feel good using something other than concrete and wood for these builds, I must admit. That castle build pretty much bankrupted me at the time, I'm pretty certain. Cool. Now that is 3 wide, so we'll put this in here. Then we'll see what the kind of bulk of this place is going to look like. Will that look out of place if I bring this forward 1? I don't think it will. So let's just bite the bullet and see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Proportion-wise, I think we're fine. The proportion for that I'm quite satisfied with. I can even make some interesting features in the middle here. I'll have to put some edging on here to take some of the less sightly elements of this build out of this crap that I've got here. Now, how do we want to lay this out? Because I can put the wall here to separate the stairs. This area here, I'm not quite sure about, because it will be under the stairs. It will take away from some cell spaces. But I could put the doors along here. I can have maybe a 2x1 for each prisoner. I think a 2x1, although it's slightly generous, I think we can work with it. Let's just make a single 2x1 and we'll see how that looks, at least on the ground floor. I don't think we should use black for that as well, because I think that would clash. Or it would just look like a single terrible looking block like that. So if we are starting a prison cell here, yeah, let's put that horrible concrete on this side. Okay. Corner trims. Don't want trims or one-sided walls. Ooh, these could cut down on my costs a fair bit. Oh, but they're indented rather than Oh no, we have got some this way. Now that's like a bookshelf that's inserted, isn't it? More bookshelf, bookshelf. I mean, something like these could do some great accents on the outside. So this is why I want to experiment with this high-tech setup, because there's a lot of stuff I could do with it. Because these are full-size walls. Let's just put this here for now. So we've got that rough concrete on the interior. I say this will cut down on the cost significantly if I use these. The thickness of those walls might clash with what I plan on doing here, but we'll see. See, under the structures here, under fences, we actually have jail cells, which is what I actually want to use. But although they'll snap to this, I don't think they're going to snap corner-wise. But even if they do, it's going to look very out of place, unless I can pen this in. Let's quickly sleep and get that too. Skip forwards by 12 hours. There we go, skip forward. Yeah, so I reckon if we put like an end cap on the corner here, that could do something. So structures. Let's go to the high tech here again. I mean, these lobby kits might have a few. I mean, these could make some really good exterior columns. Except they don't quite snap the direction I'm looking, because that is the curse of this fucking game. If you ever want something snapping, it ain't gonna work. Sorry, Chief. So, if I move this out to here, for example, we can actually put these columns in place and they can look, I say snazzy, there's the wrong word for it. I mean, nothing in Fallout 4 is particularly snazzy, but in terms of wasteland, yes. So I mean, I could put these in for accents, and they can create an even more enclosed and claustrophobic feeling for the inmates. And like these braces can be added to things as well as little accents, and again it can make them look a bit more terrifying. But like even these, I think some canopies like across the outside, if we've got a dark or rusty one like this, we could build a canopy across the outside, which I think I may do actually. I was about to say that feels remarkably short, but it's because we've got stairs going up. I don't think I'll put stairs on this side. I don't think that's really worth it. We can have one way up. That'll do just fine. So, let's have a look. Do we have any panels? I don't think it'll be under the lobby walls. It's probably going to be under skin A. So, corner trims. So I think these are genuinely all corners rather than posts, but we'll see. Wall trims. Do we have just a singular column or cap or some kind? Put side trims on. Skin add-ons. I mean, these can work, but these are very, very tall. That's the problem. But if the prison cells are identical above as they are below, then this shouldn't cause a problem, right? Problem is that I snapped a little bit too centrally. I never thought I'd say that, but they have done that too centrally. Okay, we do actually have some purpose-built pieces, but I kind of want something a bit bulkier than that. Because that is just a flat cab. So, is that taller than the actual? Yes, okay. So if I put that there, does it poke through the top? I really hope it doesn't, but never say never. Okay, good. That's fine. Also, why does that wall look like it doesn't line up? There we go. Now it lines up. So yeah, we have this, but again, this bulk on the edge here does not really help us. Like, granted, you're going to be really uncomfortable in this fucking room, but is it uncomfortable enough? It's a question I ask. I mean, that exterior wall, if I just move this in by, say, 10 units, and then this in by 10 units, that doesn't detract from it. So you move these all by 10. I mean, I could probably then put columns on that, and that would look fine. Okay, what kind of jail cell doors do we have? The under structures and doors. I know there is the actual prime fit one for this, like this cell. I'm not quite sure why they don't snap, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. Isn't there a dedicated jail door in here? I'm pretty certain. I said hopefully, while I aimlessly scroll through here looking for the one that fits. Oh, it fits double doors. That's very random. Not quite sure why it does that. Yeah, because the jail cells are here. But why they don't snap to this is... well, it's going to remain... oh, they do. I literally just saw it snap. Huh. Snapping's just a little bit off, I see. But yeah, you could fit prisoners in those. I could add some of these terrifying like metal structures to the building to make it look a bit more inhospitable. That's the word I'm looking for. Put some like basic lights in there to make it habitable, but far from luxury. And I can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Then up top I could make this hanger left here. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32 prisoners in this building alone. I think with the settlement features as high as they are, because the game starts to really struggle when I've got more than about 70. I reckon a prisoner population of 30 is pretty good, considering this place will need to have probably 2 artillery guns, which are 5 men each. That's 40. It'll have some guards up by the piers, which I would say probably number 5 or 6. You know what? I reckon I could actually fit a few more prisoners on here, because in effect the prisoners on this place are the civilians. They're the workers that would otherwise be in the other settlements. So I reckon I could probably get away with making another story to this, and I could make it even more brutal, even more of a regime, because then in the areas over here I could design, for example, sweatshops. These guys might have been captured, but rather than send them back out into the wasteland, we can have them make all the guns for the Minutemen. We could make them make all the uniforms. Now that would be an idea. So let's see what I can do for this place. Because this place is going to need a lot of guards. It's a penal colony, after all. But I reckon 47 prisoners, I think we're looking at, near enough. I think 47 prisoners will be good. And I can just simply expand the stairs on here to add that layer on top. So you know what, let's put in the piece for this. I don't think it's actually skin A walls. I think it's the skin floor, interior floors, stairs. That's the one I'm looking for. Oh, okay, I used this one. Then I used the half floors on top, like so. And like so, and then I used a top of stairs for this side. Oops. Put that in the middle. Cool. Now let's lay out the floor up top here, and then we can start working on it. We'll have like a skeleton. I may also decide to put the roof on first, because I think the roof is going to need most of the care, the best care for it. I'm going to have to really play around with how I decide to do the cells themselves, because I want them to be as unwelcoming as possible, but I do also want them to at least have a decent look about them, rather than I've just created a bunch of metal coffins in the walls. Plus I actually need to create quarters for my guards to sleep in. And of course the navy. I've only got some temporary beds to keep the current guys here happy. I haven't actually done anything else for their purposes. Cool. Place that in there and then move across. Okay. I do quite like the idea that these guys will not have like foot walls. They will have the the cold air blowing in at them through the bars of the prison cells. So they are not going to have much in the way of shelter. Like they'll have shelter, they're not being rained on, but they're going to be cold. They're going to be miserable. They're going to be suffering just the way they should be if they've been convicted of the crimes that they have been. That's what happens when you abuse the trust of the Minutemen. Right, so these columns will make for some very good decorations. Now, let's just put in a wall at the top here. We'll do the standard black on the top. We might be able to get away with doing a larger one on the top if I could put in a ceiling. Okay, so we're going to make this hang a stairs left before we put these in. So let's just put these in to gain access to the roof tiles. These are bases. That's surprisingly shiny, I must admit. Like these can go in the very corner of the base, and they all look pretty good. Miscellaneous. Oh, an antenna. I could use that for a radio beacon somewhere. Set dressing. It's not going to be under any of the set dressing, that's fine. Where did I find those roof pieces? Oh, canopy. Because, I mean, these are rusty. And I feel like I could do some decent work with these canopies. Fits a hit lobby, but will clip most others. So we've got lobby walls. Snaps to the high-tech lobby small frames. Okay. So that'll be these. Ah, so these are 2 stories. These, I think, would look pretty effective on the outsides here. Ooh, I wish I knew about these earlier. Because I could use these to make the place look very unwelcome. Have I got this wrong? Oh, it's because I've missed out a couple. I'm an idiot. Let me just put those in so we have got a proper line here. Interior floors be in theme 1 black. Yeah, I just forgot to put in the 3rd layer. I think I've forgotten across this side too. Let me do that. There we go. Right. You know, I quite like those lobby pieces. I think we're onto something with these. No, don't want those. These small frames, I could potentially have some uses for these. So it will take me a little bit of finagling, but I reckon I got something good going here. So this is a game that I really like because for some reason I can be walking into a build like this with no idea what the fuck I'm going for and come out with a great style. So this is why I tend not to go into my builds with too much to think about. Okay. Now these can then snap across. I might have to... I really might have to mess with these. Or no, I could just put 2 side by side. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll use a big one, like that. Then we'll just use a small one to plug the gap in the middle. Why is that so badly aligned? I don't understand. Okay, let's put that in there. I've also just realised this might not be as good of an idea as I think it is. Who'd have thunk it? Right. That doesn't look too bad, like at all. Problem is, if I go upstairs, am I going to see some things I don't want to see? Yes, there's walls on the interiors. Quite big ones, actually. How do I rectify this, I wonder? How do I rectify it? And I've got like panels. I mean, those are small frames I put in, but for some reason they match up. Where are these supposed to stack to? I don't understand. Add small wall panels to fill, but these are the small wall panels and they don't fit. Yes, they don't fit. because I really like these for accents, I must admit. Unless I put some of these up the top. Are these to fill these without? Right, okay, so this would snap the other direction. That is fine. This is going to take some thinking, because I almost at the moment simultaneously really like and really hate this building pack. So this might take some thinking. Especially because a lot of these have some transparencies, and I think that's a back face culling, I think is the technical term for it. So, for example, I could put these in here to make the shape a bit more interesting. It really doesn't want to play ball with me though, does it? No, it doesn't. It's fine. But I do think this is a good guideline for what I want to do. Okay. So add wall panels to fill those without panels, but I feel like I shouldn't really fill them in, because that will cover 2 stories, like without a problem. But that will give it walls, which I'm again not keen on. Plus from the inside, what does it look like? It does just look like those standard panels, which again, not very keen on. Some of these do look very foreboding though. And I could use these potentially to round off the buildings when I get to this point. Because I think that would actually fit nicely. Yeah, it would. For example, this. Even though you might not be able to access it from the inside, that would look kind of foreboding if you're going up the hill. Especially if you've got like Minuteman flags hanging from it, you've got maybe guards sat on the top. It could be a tier down, for example. I'm just going to put these here to see what that looks like. I'm not planning on keeping these. At least not at the moment, but we'll see. But again, snapping, the bane of my fucking life is that snapping mechanic in this game. I'm pretty sure there is an option to turn it off, but I forget what it is from my snappy builds. Also, that's very slightly off. That's about half a tile off. That's in line. That is half a tile off. So potentially this may not be what we're looking for. But I would say I'll put the artillery on there, but the last thing I want from a logistics point of view is to put in prisoners who break out and then manage to get their ass on an artillery gun. That's definitely not kosher. Absolutely not. But this could look like a decommissioned and repurposed high-tech building, and being painted to look a bit more foreboding. This could be a thing. So I know I'm not a fan of those wall panels up there, but I could probably make it work with a little bit of finagling. Some of these tall wall panels can cover 2 stories as well. No, they cover like a block and a half. So I don't think the tall panels are going to be for us. Small panels, however, we might be able to get away with. They don't clip to anything. No, they clip to the lobbies, not the standard ones. But some of this looks too luxurious for me to use, which is a shame. But we can continue to make these things as foreboding and horrible as possible. Okay, let's forget about lobby walls. We can mess around potentially to make these more foreboding. We can just build them in almost like we're designing a vault, because I can build these in. For example, let me get the black one. and put that in. I mean, these could look really claustrophobic, and I think these might do as well. And do we have... We do have junctions. That is an option. Then I can also use these to, for example, put in windows, which I can then place bars over, because we do have the bunker set, which does have some barred windows, if I'm not mistaken. Or I could just simply jerry-rig them from another set, that isn't a problem. So I could actually build these as rooms, rather than doing them as freestanding builds. I think that would give a much more flush look, and would help me go for the look I'm gunning for. Would be a case of probably putting them all in and then stripping them out after we put the trims on. They would be much easier to decorate that way. I think that may be the route I'm going, but yeah, it's coming up to the hour mark, and I think I've probably kept your attention long enough. But let me know what you think. This is just some brainstorming at the moment, so please leave comments and let me know how you feel about this build so far, or whether any of the ideas I've put out here seem actually fucking coherent enough, because I do have a habit of not being very coherent with these things. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next one, when I've done some more drawing on the drawing board. But until then, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I will see you guys later, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, and goodbye.